Hello students, we're back and it's math time. Okay, today we're going to be focusing on learning about the LCD, the lowest common denominator. Okay, now this uses some words that you guys are already familiar with. Denominator, you should know that by now, and you should know common denominator because we found a common denominator as we had to add or subtract or compare fractions that had unlike denominators. And you probably did and used many of those skills on Friday when you did the math test. So we already have a good foundation of these skills, and today we're going to be looking at comparing two different ways of finding a common denominator. Now, hold on, if you haven't watched this YouTube Math Antics video yet and you clicked on my video first, stop now, go back, watch this YouTube video first. This should be the second video you've watched. So if you've already watched it, let's jump in. So now I know in my class, I'm not sure about Miss Beth's class, but I believe that you guys learned how to find the easiest common denominator. Okay, it's mentioned in the video, but very quickly. Okay, the easiest common denominator, the ECD, is when if we don't know what to multiply the two different sides by to make the denominators the same, we can just multiply them by each other, which makes a nice even number on both sides. And we know no matter what the two denominators are, if we multiply them by each other, it's always going to be the same on both sides, no matter what. So here we have 2/3 plus 2/6. So we just multiply the 3 by 6 and the 6 by 3. On both sides we get 18. So as long as we multiply both parts of each fraction by the same number, we'll get a nice new fraction with a nice common denominator. Okay, and our easiest common denominator, the ECD, is the number on the bottom. Now another way to solve this is to find the lowest common denominator. Now we find the lowest common denominator by finding the multiples, as shown in the video. Okay, so we use a chart like this, and we write all the multiples out below. So just like this, okay, I've got a chart. On my example, 2/3 plus 2/6. I got my two denominators, 3 and 6, and now I just go and write out all the multiples until I get a number on the same that's the same on both sides. Now 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6. Oh, that's the same as 6 times 1. 6 times 1 is 6, 3 times 2 is 6. Boom. I already found my lowest common denominator, which is 6. And now I can make the new fraction. I just know because 6 is 3 times 2, I'm going to multiply both the fractions here by 2. And I don't need to change this one. So there we go. I've got my new fraction. Interesting. Now these two different skills will sometimes be useful or more useful than each other in different situations. So we should be familiar with both of them. Okay? Sometimes you only need to find the easiest common denominator, and sometimes it's easier. Sometimes it's easier to find the lowest common denominator, but also sometimes you might need to. So this is the extra important skill, and that's why this is the number one focus of our lesson, finding the lowest common denominator. Okay? So for your task here, you just need to solve both of these questions, 1 and 2. It's the same problem, but you're going to find on number 1, you're going to find the easiest common denominator, like this example, and number 2, you're going to find the lowest common denominator, like this example. Show me you can do it. For the second slide, we're going to think a little bit more deeply, okay? So show me your understanding by telling me what a multiple is, and then here, reflect a little bit. In that question, was it faster to find the ECD or the LCD? Each question might be different, but how about this one? Now, if you want to challenge yourself, you don't have to. You can skip this question if you're low on time or you think it's difficult. But if you want to get some bonus XP, give me an example of a question where it's faster to find the ECD than it is to find the LCD. Try and figure out what kind of question that might work for. Okay? So you can just write your answers in using the seesaw tools. You can use the label function, or you can use the pencil or pen function. It's up to you. Okay? Then submit your work. All right? To make sure it's nice and neat for us to see it clearly. Okay? Thank you and good luck.